Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor. I've got a real blend of action for you on this week's show as we preview the best of the jump action at Aintree and Wincanton, as well as a flat season finale at Doncaster, all races live on Sky Sports Racing. Being joined in the studio, as always, by Declan Bricks and Sam Boswell. Dec, got to start with you. 34-1 local price about Starlust for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. We the whole show had a good week last week, to be fair. I was lucky. The first time I've got a full house, the Nap Next Best and Longshot all went in, and Starlust was the star of the show for that. So great ride by Ross Ryan, and Rebels Romance was the next best, who you also put up, Sam. And then the Nap was Willie the Builder, who also went in as well. And you had a jumps winner, if I remember correctly, and a Breeders' Cup winner.
Yeah, exactly. We're cross-blending, aren't we? Across anything, any sport, any type of race.
Discipline.
Anything, just give us it. I'll find the winners. Yeah, no, really good. To be fair, Chianti Classico, I mean, he was favourite, but he was so impressive. But yeah, Moira, though, oh, she's so cool. She's just filly and mare, turf, going two better than she did last year. No, over the moon. And Sam, of course, very well done to you as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, props to Dec, let's be honest.
Yeah,
he had the week of all weeks. I mean, well done, full house. And Chianti Classico, now our favourite for the Coral Gold Cup at Newbury, which isn't too far away now, is it? So, yeah, we're creeping back in. Best of both worlds today. Looking forward to finding some more winners.
Hopefully, we will do exactly that. Now, before we get into the action, a reminder as ever to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, we're going to begin at Aintree with the 240. This is with the Grand Sefton Handicap Chase. 6-year odds and over 2 mile 5. So we're back over the big spruce fences. Now, Ferrero Bamboo 11-2 heading the way in this one, Dec. So who do you like?
Yeah, it's not the biggest of field, but I think as ever with these Grand National on the course races, you're going to need a horse that probably races prominently and likes to go forward, and there is plenty of pace on here. So I think getting into an early rhythm will be very important. And there's loads that you could kind of go in here, but I was just looking at the stats. I went through it last night. I think there's only ever been one winner of this race that has won in the last decade, that has won on their seasonal debut.
Yeah.
So I think horses that have had a run might have a little bit of an edge, although the ground won't be as bad as it usually is in this race, so maybe that edge will be gone. I was stuck between King Turgeon and a horse who's not even on the graphic there, Authorised Art. King Turgeon, I will give a mention to because he is such a good jumper. He could really take to this test, but I was just worried that the drop back in trip and going up in class could maybe have him on its head early, but he could run well. But at a big price, I think Authorised Art is really interesting. Former Willie Mullins runner, now with the Gary and Josh Moore team, and you know, he just looks tailor-made for this kind of test. He's a very good jumper when he's on it. He's got a high cruising speed, and he's got a prominent style of racing. Those are really what you want for a kind of test like this. Now look, it'll be tough off a mark of 153. He'll be the highest rated winner of this race in this last decade, but Quail and Quinn takes £3 off his back, and he's a big price. I'll be having a few quid on him each way to run into the 3 or the 4.
Or the 4, like you say, with those extra places then.
Jeez, I went a bit hoarse there at the end, didn't I? I do apologise.
You're still struggling from last weekend.
Struggling.
No, well, we were putting our selections into the WhatsApp group, and I saw you came through with Authorised Art. After, can I just say,
you were in
I
first.
put it in. I thought, I know what he's done. I know he's gone through the trends that I have, because for us both to land on a horse that is, well, bigger than 12-1 anyway, not even on the betting graphic here, I thought he's definitely done the same as me. And that's it. The fact that it's a horse where he's already had the one start already this season. Now, didn't exactly come in a race we would necessarily expect to then lead to going over the big spruces up at Aintree, because it was in a listed hurdle, and he wasn't disgraced at all, I didn't think, behind Rubold in that, who of course is running on the weekend as well and has a really good chance in the elite hurdle. But he just got outpaced. It was over a trip that was well short of his best, but he rallied to good effect. Clearly, he still has plenty of ability from Willie Mullins's. He's 16-1 just hearing as well at the time of recording, so happy to take that at this stage. And when you look at his competitive chase handicap runs he's been running in of late, in terms of the Galway Plate, now that was off of this mark in July, and he finished mid-division. He ran a solid race in that, half year over this trip, back over fences, and like you say, class act of the field. So we are both with a 16-1 shot, Sammy boy.
We're singing from the same hymn sheet.
Yeah.
painting from the same canvas, whichever you want to go with.
Very good.
You like that? Yeah, nice one.
He's back on form again, isn't he? Yeah, with all of these sayings coming to the fore.
I thought I was going to go with a fairly big price horse, which you guys obviously beat me to it. But I went through this. The three at the front of the betting have got contrasting kind of viewpoints on. Venetia Williams' favourite there at 11-2. Really like the horse, but I'd like it a lot more if it was soft ground. I just think it's going to be too quick for that contender. Late Night Pass, I just wondered, obviously didn't quite get home in the National, but is this a little bit too short? Possibly. I thought the Beach Chase probably right up that horse's street, 6-1. And Deck mentioned David Pipe's running King Turgeon. Obviously, I always associate David Pipe horses. Vier-Lion Rouge, you remember how many national fences he absolutely loves. So he's definitely a trainer that can really make one enjoy this kind of test. And of those three at the front of the betting, that was kind of the one I liked the most. But the actual selection is going to be Gabaret. That's a really intriguing runner. So this horse was last seen running in Hunter Chases, switched back to that code, and actually unseated at the Canal Turn over these style of fences going back to last April. One thing I would say is I think you can forgive that run, and we're going to watch the horse here winning. I think this is Doncaster, and you've got to think with this kind of horse, I quite like the fact that they went and did something different and got the confidence back, but his record on good ground is excellent. I think it's a 50% strike rate from 4 starts on good ground. The mark, is it workable? I don't think it's that high. I actually think the races that he won in Hunter Chase, if you go back and look through, the effort at Cartmel was really, really good. He lacks a recent run deck, which I know you've suggested would be preferential here. Completely agree, but I think plenty of them would lack a recent run in this particular race. And I felt if there was one at a double-digit price that I liked each way, this was the fella I came down on when I had doubts at the front 2 in the betting.
I love watching that clip of him, though, going to the last fence and the way that 3 strides out, he's pricked his ears. He's actually measured his own strides there. So, clever jumper, 10-1 shot. You can keep your 10s. We've got 16s to go at then for our long shot. Well, long enough shot, all the same in the Grand Sefton. Do let us know who you fancy for that race in the comments section below. Right, we're going to move down to Wincanton now for the 3:30. This is the Badger Beer Handicap Chase, a Premier Handicap, 4-year-olds and over 3 mile 1. So one of the big races at Wincanton, of course, at the weekend. Now, the Changing Man is the favourite for Joe Tizard and Brendan Powell, and the Tizard team in good form at present, Sam.
Yeah, they are. I saw them have a nice winner at Newbury yesterday in the car we sponsored there, and they seemingly have got everything fairly forward. Maybe they've had a few away days, but they definitely seem to be hitting the ground running. 3-1 market leader at 3-1 in a race of this nature, where I'm not certain the track's going to suit that well, given the way that he tends to go around there. He's run there a couple of times, and just felt 3-1 was way too short. Lord Accord, I guess he's there because of the ground. Obviously, he ran really well in it a couple of years ago, and I think Neil Mulholland's had a good time of things recently enough. I'm not sure he's that well handicapped, but I'll let one of you two potentially assess his chances, because I think someone likes him.
Will it be?
Mufasa in the same colours as well, which puts me off Lord Accord weirdly a little bit. Yeah. Why are you going to throw 2 darts at the race in here? Maybe they're desperate to win at the connections, I don't know. But of the rest that I was looking at, the one that I've actually picked out was Lord Baddesley at 8-1. Interesting profile, this horse. Was with Chris Gordon a long time, and this will be his first start for Anthony Honeyball. Anthony runs 3 in here. Different connections, so that's my angle. And I'd imagine Rex Dingle would have probably had the pick of the 3. He has ridden Lord Baddesley in the past, picked him out here, and I think we're going to watch him finishing second at Newbury to Inch House. He's back down to the same mark that he was on this day. We've had to cut the clip fairly short because of the mist, but if you watch him, he'll just sort of kind of pick up from in behind and start to really stay on nicely. I don't think he's the most consistent animal, which is actually probably a bit of the reason he's an 8-1 shot, but off this mark, I think he can definitely be competitive. And Anthony Honeyball, I do think sometimes, nothing against Chris Gordon, it's just a change of scene sometimes can help, especially with these horses that are getting just a little bit older. But, you know, I thought this form line with Inch House was pretty good. He was then a little bit inconsistent in his next 2 runs, which was a shade disappointing, I'd say. But somewhere different, local track. I think it's first time he'll be running at Wincanton as well. I think the triple suit. And I think this sort of contest at 8-1 was just a horse I wanted to play each way.
Lord Baddesley and another yard that are, well, flying pretty much.
33% strike rate.
Yeah, exactly.
So, did they win the race last year as well, Honeyballs?
With Blackjack Magic. That was there. It's a good shout. Very, very good shout.
It's interesting. Well. It felt like every single staying chaser that was in the Honeyball yard was entered in this race.
Yeah.
I think they had 5 of the 16 in at the 5-day stage, and now they've still got 3 of the 10 in here. And Gustavian is also part of that Honeyball team. He'll probably be important to how the race is run, because he likes to go forward and put some pace in the race. And so does my horse, my selection, Lord Accord. So I'm hoping he doesn't spoil the party for me. But Lord Accord was actually second in this race today. Good old Frodon a couple of seasons ago, off an £8 higher mark. So he's got to be of interest here. Now, after that race behind Frodon, he actually lost his way a little bit. Lost his way quite badly. But the Mulholland team have slowly been building him back up through the summer. And this is him winning at Sedgefield over hurdles 2 starts back. And you just get the feeling this run could be the building block to his confidence. So he went on here, he won here, he bolted up, as you can see. And he's such a good jumper over hurdles, this horse. Then on his next starts, he went over this course and distance at Wincanton and he bolted up again. And, you know, it just looks like they've kind of found the key to him again. He's got his confidence back and he's in good order. Now, he is a good jumper overall, but I have got to say he did get a little bit messy late here at Wincanton when he won on his last start. I'm hoping that was just a case of being a lack of concentration more than anything. And, you know, if Gustavian and those kind of better horses in a better race can give him a lead, hopefully his jumping will be a little bit better late. But look, there's lots to like about him, and you just go back to that form behind Frodon. You know, second to a good horse like here. There's no Frodon in this race, and that was off an £8 higher mark. He's clearly in good form, and it'd be nice for Neil Mulholland to win this race, because I think it was 10 years ago the young master absolutely bolted up in this race. But then the good old BHA said, no thank you, your horse wasn't qualified. We've got to take the race away from you, but your horse is going to go up in the handicap. You're not going to get any money, so justice for the Neil Mulholland yard here, please.
10 years old.
That's it.
We like our grudges.
We will hold
never let go. No, never ever let go. Yeah, what's your Lords then in this? So Sam with Lord Baddesley, Deck with Lord Accord, and behind Frodon, he made a late mistake that day, didn't he, as well, where he could have won that day. So I think I was with him. But so justice for that as well, and for those of us who sided with him on that occasion. 7-2 for Lord Accord. Right, you two with the Lords. I'm going to leave you two to it. I'm a forward plan in here. My only concern, though, we talk about the running style for this race, and at Wincanton in general over fences, you just want to be on the front end of a pace, and that's going to be a slight issue for forward plan, because he doesn't live up to his name. He very much is a kind of midfield, more of a hold-up type of performer. So that's the only concern I really have. But apart from that, every chance to improve again on what he did last season. Winning at Kempton, his penultimate start, up £4 as he travelled really well into his latest at Aintree in a Premier Handicap Chase to finish third, clear of the fourth. Now, we're looking back at his win in December last year, second start of the campaign at Doncaster, where he just kept on in really good style. And this required some amount of staying in this race. And he hit the front halfway up the home straight, but he just showed this day how much he loves a flat track, so Wincanton is ideal. And this win was also after he'd run well in the Badger Beer last year, finishing 6th when he was £7 out of the handicap last year. So I just hope they learn the lessons from last year, riding that bit more forwardly. And at 10-1, I think he's got a better shot again than he did last year. So forward plan for me, Lord Baddesley for Sam and Lord Accord then for Deck. Do let us know who you fancy for the Badger Beer in the comment section below. Right. Back to the flat now. The flat is still holding on, still clinging on. We're going to go to Doncaster, where the Sky Sports racing cameras will be in action, of course, with the 3:10. Now, this is the listed Gillies Fillies stakes for the 3-year-olds and over 10 furlongs. Now, Rafe Beckett has won this 4 times. He runs 2 in here, Deck, so are you with one of them?
He is. I am with one of them, yeah. It's a competitive race, isn't it? I think Danielle's taken a fair chunk out of the market in there. I think your traders are actually bigger than a lot of other companies out there. So if you do fancy Danielle, back her with BetVictor, #ad. And then also you've got Diamond Rain in here, who's really interested in filly, because she looked like she was going to be, you know, maybe develop into a top-class filly earlier in the season, but she was a big drifter on fast ground in the Ribblesdale, and we haven't seen her since, so watch the market for her. But speaking of markets, the horse for me here that's grossly overpriced is Rafe Beckett's Treasure at 8-1. For the simple reason is I had her running to a mark of 97 last time out in a good handicap at Newmarket, and I had Danielle running to a mark of 97 behind Max Vega at Newbury. But you can get 9-4 about one and you can get 8-1 about the other. And we've got to remember now about Treasure, you know, at the start of the season, she was on the Oaks Trail, wasn't she? This is her running in the Linkfield Oaks Trail behind her stable companion, You've Got to Me.
Yeah.
I'm actually forgetting the platform already, it's terrible. And I thought, given the track you can see there, she's quite a big filly. The ground was probably too quick for her this day, and I think this was just her second career start. So, you know, given all those things there, I thought she ran a cracker. They then rolled the dice and sent her to Epsom, but, you know, given her size there, you know, just that, it's not her track at all. And even last time out at Newmarket, probably wouldn't be her track, but she was a colossal eye-catcher in a race where the winner was the front runner, and they was given a very good ride. They got a big breather going to 3 out and 2 out. But Treasure was given lots to do, and I thought Rob Hornby took a good while to get after her as well. But when he really got stuck into her, she picked up and she really hit the line strongly. She just looks like a filly now, given her size. She's coming into herself, which is a shame because it's coming to the end of the flat season. Yeah. But as you said, it's a race that Rafe Beckett has done well in before. He's won four renewals recently and 2 of the last 10 in this decade. So she will do for me. I think she is a very, very good value bet at 8-1.
Yeah, you're with the right yard, really, aren't you, after the whole of this season?
I have got Rafe Beckett pyjamas on at the moment.
You've had a few pairs of pyjamas this season,
I
but
think
we're finishing with the Rafe
top
ones.
on the list at the moment.
Good to know. I'm sure he'll be delighted.
I'm sure he'll absolutely love that vision. It's a bit.
I certainly
it's a bit Alan Partridge's. What's his stalker? Yeah, it's kind of got that similar vibe at the moment, isn't it?
It's along those lines. Yeah, 8-1 then about Treasure for you. But I'm pleased we look back at that VT because I'm with Danielle in this. Now, I found this race so frustrating because I saw her at the head of the market at 9-4 and thought, right, I'm going to try and take her on. The trends are against her. The Goslins have never won this race, well, as far as I'm aware, definitely not in the last 20 years anyway. Favourites have a rubbish record in the race as well, so kind of hope she drifts. Don't think she will, but I'll still side with her. So I'm trying to initially take her on because of those factors, but we're looking at her when she finished second behind Max Vega last time out, but we know what I'm going to think of this form. I'm going to think that this form is class. And this was really testing conditions, hence why Max Vega was able to show his best, and it was at Newbury. So I thought she actually proved herself in this race as a class above what she's going to face against listed fillies in this one. So really likeable from her. And initially, as I say, trying to take her on. But when you look at the likes of Diamond Rain in here, we don't know what version of her is going to turn up in this. We last saw her finishing last at Royal Ascot. She has to give £3 to Danielle, who's getting weight from the penalised runners and her elders in here as well. So yeah, I just thought that Danielle, full circle back around. Why complicate things, Sam?
Oh, I'll tell you what, Kate, watching that clip of the Linkfield Oaks Trials gave me PTSD because I was with Danielle that day.
Yeah, no, I think I was as well, to be honest.
I was with who was the O'Brien filly that was second, came from the Clouds?
Yes.
Testing our flat knowledge, and I was only just finishing.
Diamonds and rubies, was it? Rubies and reds.
Rubies and reds.
Yeah, so a note to the producer, please never play that replay again. We're all suffering.
But the point I was going to say, Kate, is I've just been disappointed with Danielle this season, to be honest. And I felt like the traders got it right trying to take her on and push her out to 9-4. I just don't think she quite lived up to the height. And I'd also be a little bit concerned about how much that Newbury effort's going to have taken out of the horse. Obviously, that was fairly recently. She had not the busiest campaign, has she? But she certainly run a fair few races. But yeah, I wasn't keen at the price at 9-4. So I'll be taking your selection on with a Strange, who's incredibly unexposed in comparison to others here. I suppose going through the flat season, one of my themes has been getting a little bit seduced by unexposed horses. But a Strange for me, go back to that Goodwood debut effort where it was backed, really well backed. That was on soft ground at Goodwood. Came out and absolutely blitzed them. Was a really impressive winner. Form of that race looks okay. I wouldn't say it's like anything to hang your hat on. Then went on to Yarmouth, where we're going to watch the clip, I think, in a second, and just gets butchered here, I think it's fair to say. And listen, I don't think when you're in that position at Yarmouth, you're going to have much that you can do. So I felt you could upgrade this particular effort. And it did come on faster ground. This was good to firm. I think what we're going to get at Doncaster on Saturday, good ground with a little bit of dew in it, will be perfect. There won't be an issue for the horse. And I just felt that Goodwood win was just too impressive to write off. James Doyle takes the ride. Interesting little stat. James Doyle riding for David O'Mara, back and blind, £30 profit to £1 stake, which just seemed to live. And there's a decent sort of sample size as well, 20% strike rate when James rides for him. And yeah, I just felt this was a horse. She's in my tracker. I kind of felt we're getting towards the end of the season. I'm worried that a few in here have been busy enough. She maybe just has been given a little bit of time. And read those comments about the win at Goodwood. They definitely felt she'll make up into a group horse. So signing off with something like this season looks like she's been handled carefully, and I liked her chances. And what are we? A 7-1 shot. I thought that was fair.
3 different selections then, a strange for Sam.
It'll be interesting to see how the market goes, because if the market is quite negative on Diamond Rain, I think a few will shorten up here. And you know, I think Danielle elsewhere is as short as 13 to 8 in places, so hopefully there's a good opportunity for some.
Here, Dec.
Absolutely not, yeah. Another hashtag ad.
Hashtag ads.
Doing your job.
Yeah. Very much so. Hashtag gifted next week is what you'll be on about. But yeah, I kind of hope, I don't know, I hope she drifts a bit just because of that favourite stab. I don't think she's going to, Danielle, but she's a fair price all the same anyway to chance her. Again, do let us know who you fancy in that listed contest. Now, before we move on to our next race, which is quite a competitive one, a reminder as ever to hit subscribe on YouTube so you never miss an episode of this show. Right, 3:45, the flat season is coming to an end, so why not sign off with the November Handicap? We start with the Lincoln, we sign off with the November Handicap, we bookend such a tricky flat season, really, don't we? 3 rods and over, a mile 4, finale of the flat turf season. Dec, who do you like?
Yeah, bonkers, isn't it? Just mental. I wanted to be against the top 2 in the market because I think they've got various question marks. Valvano was going up in trip and he didn't hit the line really hard at York last time out, albeit it was in a strongly run race, and I thought he looked a really difficult ride as well. He was hanging that day. Master Builder, on the other hand, I think he'll handle the ground no problem, but he is a horse who has been very comfortable over 14 furlongs in well-run races, and I don't see an awful lot of pace in this race, and I was kind of just going through it there. You know, Stress Free was a horse who was high on my shortlist. I think he is very, very interesting, and I could end up backing 2. But Lord Melbourne was a length and 3/4 behind Stress Free at Leicester on his last run. And Stress Free has gone on to boost that form significantly. But Jack Doherty is claiming £5 off Lord Melbourne. And that means for a length and 3/4 defeat at Leicester over 10 furlongs, which wouldn't be his trip, he is now £10 better off. So I just thought at a bigger price, he was the bet for me, especially given he's a wonderfully straightforward horse. He's got good gate speed. He'll put himself and Jack into a good prominent position early, and that could be key in a race that's not mapping at having lots of pace. Now, you kind of look back at some of the November Handicap winners. There have been some classy sorts. He probably wouldn't be the classiest sort of winner of the race. And as we saw there in that VT, that was him running at Ascot earlier in the season. He probably just didn't stay the trip on a proper stiff track that day. But this race maps up well for him. Again, he's just Rafe Beckett, who's still in good order. I think he's a good, solid each-way bet. Would it be a little bit disappointing if kind of he won the race? Go for the future? Potentially, you know, the sexy ones are Alvano and Master Builder, but I just thought he was a rock-solid each-way proposition.
And he's another Lord for you.
And he's another Lord,
I was going to say we could do the treble, but you've got 2 Lords in the same race, so we can't do that.
And there might be a king in my best bets at the end of the show as well.
Way to tee it up, way to build the suspense then. So we're going to upgrade from a Lords to a king then potentially for Dec. Sam, you have another Lord?
No, I don't. And Dec has sort of already mentioned my selection, called him a sexy profile, didn't you, Master Builder? But you didn't like him, but I do. And I think one thing that I thought was a bit curious about this, we had a little look at the draws. You kind of want to be double-digit draw for this, which seems a bit odd when you look at where they start from, but double-digit draws to the 4, which he ticks that box. He is relatively unexposed compared to many in here, and David Menissier is hitting form at the end of the season, isn't he? I think his last 8 runners, he's had 2 winners and 4 seconds, so he's bang there. William Buick gets back on board. He's won on him previously. I will rewatch the York run where I just felt like you can probably upgrade that effort. He dwelt at the start and then had to use up plenty of petrol to try and make a bit of a manoeuvre and still managed to stay on and finish pretty well, I thought. So Master Builder was kind of a bit of a tentative play, but 8-1 I thought was just a price I could definitely see shortening up as well in here. I wouldn't be shocked if we end up with co-favourites here because I thought Favano was just a little bit on the short side. Probably depends how the trainers, other runners get on, given this is what the 3:45 curtain closer of the flat season. But yeah, a good race, really looking forward to it. But Master Builder was my play, Kate.
8-1 shot. I do hope, though, that they get closer in the market. I agree with you on that sense, because I'm with Valvano here. And yeah, 5-1 is as short as I mean, it is. I was fighting with myself really about that price. But with this horse, now, if you remember all the way back to about April time, we had to give one horse to follow for the flat season. Mine was Valvano.
Oh, was it?
Didn't quite go the way I was anticipating.
How are you still remembering that? Yeah, I couldn't.
I was so excited about him for this season, but I was excited about him for more of a Derby prospect. Now we're in the November Handicap. Didn't quite go the way I was anticipating. But if we still manage to sign off the season with a win for him, then ideal. Now, the reason I sided with him as my horse to follow was just how impressive he was on his sole 2-year-old start, really testing conditions up at Nottingham at the end of last year. Now, the race that he won on that occasion was a race that loads of superstars
was that the Golden Horn Maiden?
Oh,
was it? Because he
yes, he was one of them. Yeah. I didn't know if that was the name of it.
Yeah,
now.
I think they've called it. They've had a rebrand.
Yeah,
after.
It's had so many stars come out of it, and he won it like in blinding stars. I thought, okay, this is going to be a horse that's going to go on to bigger and better things. He reappeared quite early this season, but then he was given the summer off. I think he had a bit of a setback.
He did have a setback, yeah.
Yeah, which obviously wasn't ideal. But you look at the RPRs he's actually posted, despite being defeated since he's come back a couple of times. They've been really high all the same. He's run into some properly good horses in his time as well. Of course, he was gelded during his time off. But this is his second start in a handicap now, and I still think this mark of 97 underestimates his ability to, of course, round off what's been an amazing season.
Well, given that form behind Notable Speech, you won the 2000 Guineas.
That was his reappearance. Right. Yeah, exactly. At the time, I thought I was gutted. I was like, oh, my horse to follow's been beaten. It turns out to be by him. So
Guineas winner.
That's absolutely fine. But yeah, for Rafe Beckett, Hector Crouch, who's also had a blinding season as well. So I'll be wearing my Rafe Beckett PJs as well for Valvano.
Rafe, if like, you know, we could have a joint sponsorship of the show. We could have the Rafe Beckett Yard and BetVictor doing a joint sponsorship. No?
Oh,
no.
I don't think he's the biggest fan of bookmakers sometimes, Rafe, but he's a very good trainer. Very good trainer.
Very, very good. We're still trying to get Lethal Levi himself to sponsor the show as a co-sponsor. One day we will get someone else to join in with that. But 3 different selections for the November Handicap, as you would expect. Again, do let us know who you fancy for that super, super competitive contest in the comment section below as we move over to the sofa for our best bets of the weekend. Right, all important time now, our best bets of the weekend. And again, the BetVictor traders will be boosting our naps, so make sure to head to the website or use the QR code in Vision to take advantage of that. Dec, who are we boosting for you?
We are going to boost Treasure, who is the nap this week, and we've actually already discussed the nap and the next best. But the nap is going to be Treasure in that race that Rafe Beckett and his team have done really well in. I'm hoping they'll add to it here. She is just the epitome of a good value bet for me this year. I think she should be plenty shorter. She was on the Oaks trial earlier in the season, but she's only probably kind of filling into her frame now. She's a big girl, and you know, I just think the tracks like Lingfield and Epsom, Newmarket haven't really suited her. I think she loved the flat nature of the track at Donny, so she will do for me. The next best is Lord Accord. We discussed him already. He's you know, he was second in this race off an £8 higher mark 2 years ago before he lost his way, but the Mulholland team have really got him back in good working order now, and I just love he's got that little bit of early tactical pace in the race. He'll put himself in a good position. Overall is a good jumper, but he did lose his way with jumping last time out at Wincanton, but I'm hoping that was just a lack of concentration. And then with BetVictor going an extra place, 5 places in the November Handicap. I'm interested in Maxi King. Now, he still looks fairly handicapped on his run in the Aston Park Stakes behind Middle Earth at the start of the season, but that ground was far too quick for him. When he's in good order, this fella, he's got a good attitude and he travels well. He's got a tough draw to overcome, but he's going to get his ground and he's down in class.
So hoping for the hat-trick again then for you, and an 8-1.
Well, if the hat-trick goes in again here, I think I probably won't be here next week.
We will never see you again. No hashtag gifted, no hashtag ads then for you.
Hashtag dead.
Hashtag we've lost it. Right, Sam, who are you napping?
Yes, let's see how we get on this week. Looking forward to a mix of both codes. My nap is actually going to be Soul Icon. I'm going to the Rising Stars, which I know perhaps isn't the race that we used to think of it. It's still perhaps lacking a star in there. But Ben Pauling's handstand kind of makes the market for this, and Soul Icon will love the surface, which I think is really, really key. Plenty of experience as well, and Kieran Burke's yard at the moment are in good form as well. From a small sample size, as we said, but he's had 2 winners out his last 6 runners in the last 2 weeks. So I felt like with the ground and a bit of jumping experience, I think the 2 in front of him in the betting will probably come on for the experience, whereas I think he's ready to go. I think he's top rated in the field as well, and 7-2 looked very, very fair. Now, my next best, I don't think at the moment you'll find a jockey riding any better than BetVictor's very own Gavin Sheen. He had a double at Chepstow on Wednesday, I should say. One of those rides was arguably one of the rides of the season, I suspect. And then at Ludlow, he had 2 odds-on shots, both win really, really nicely. Jamie Snowden's in good form. He's going to be riding Pretending at Wincanton for Lucy Wadham, who is another trainer absolutely flying. She's at a 38% strike rate. This horse won at Uttoxeter on seasonal reappearance, and I do think at the moment, might contradict myself slightly from what I've said about the Nap, horses that have had recent runs on the jumps definitely feel like they have a marginal edge over those that are making returns to action. This horse has been really progressive, up again, but I think can go really, really well. And then finally, my long shot is probably just on the borders of long shot, been a bit cheeky here, but Master Builder. In a week where some of the fields are a bit depleted because we don't have too much to go out, I felt 8-1 was on the borders of long shot, but like I say, got the draw that you want, got a jockey that I think you want in Mr. Buick, and also the trainer, as I've said earlier in the show, in good form as well. So I thought Master Builder, a bit more unexposed than some of those others.
Well, I'm here to tell you 8-1 is not a long shot, but it's your show and I can't do anything about it now.
Declan won't be here next week.
No, he will not be. Exactly. Hashtag removed.
Yes.
From now, I love your Nap, by the way. I think he's the only pace angle in that race as well, isn't he? Over Wincanton fences, if Soul Icon just goes forward. That's what we see in that race year after year, isn't it? So, no, I'm a big fan of, I think handstands is class, but might just be against him pace-wise for that. So nicely played then, well, hopefully so anyway. Now, I'm actually going to Wincanton as well for my Nap. Now, we talk about depleted fields and races that weren't what they were. The Grade 2 Elite Hurdle is definitely one of those races. Now, we have a very short price favourite in that, in Rubard, but I'm going for the old outsider of 3, 5-1 shot about Aspire Tower. Now, when do you ever get an outsider Irish trained horse coming over? I know we've already got the 3 runners, but 5-1 about this lad, I think is just, yeah, it's so worth chancing. For all that, this weekend I thought it was tricky to really nail down a Nap as such, so that's the one basically for me with price dictated. Henry de Bromhead is in great form, unlike the Paul Nicholls yard, where they just haven't hit top gear just yet after their usual lofty expectations that we have for them. They just haven't reached those quite yet, and I don't think that Brentford Hope will get the ground that he really wants. So Aspire Tower for me to take advantage of that Grade 2. Forward Plan I've already talked about as my next best bet in the Badger Beer. Now, hopefully he can run better than he did in this race last year, which he did fine in, considering he was £7 out of the handicap. Running style didn't give him much chance either, so I hope that Connections have learnt from that, and the fact that he did so well in the circumstances they ride him a bit more forwardly and he can live up to his name. And Authorised Art then at 16-1 in the Grand Sefton. Just a bit of a forgotten about horse in this. The top weight, second start for the Moors, previously with Willie Mullins. He's got loads of big field, hustle and bustle handicap chase experience he can put to good use. And as Dec and I both said earlier on, I love the fact that he's coming into this race on the back of one run with that extra bit of conditioning. Well, we've all just talked about it there. It's really helping some of these jump horses. So hopefully Authorised Art can do the job for both of us, but me as my long shot. Right, that's everything from us on this week's show. So big thank you to the lads for all of their hard work as per usual. May not see Dec next week then as a result of today, but best of luck to you for your bets this weekend, and we'll be back at the same time next Friday to preview the best of the weekend action, including Cheltenham.